live in effect, and that was Science Room, MIA, MIA. That particular joint was off of Hoodstock 1996 compilation that they put out. Science Room was like a studio, if you will, where MCs would go and collab, and it just so happened that was a dope little posse cut that had Mecca. Shout out to Mecca. This is a fucking legend down here. And Melody, you heard him say melodramatics at one point in his verse, and a lot of dope MCs in that. Drunk Drew did the beat. Shout out to Drunk Drew. That's the homie. He goes by Talk Love, which is not TALK, is TAWK Love. Go check him out. His style now is like on some like, Tricky. Are you aware of Tricky?
Nah, I'm not familiar.
Tricky is like a UK artist that was like in the late 90s trip hop type of music, like Massive Attack and DJ Shadow, that type of vibe.
All right, I get what you're saying.
Tricky was much more on that vibe, and Talk Love hits that vibe strong because he was collaborating with another UK artist that was dope, is Goldie.
Yeah.
Goldie actually had a dope song with KRS-One back in like 98, 99. I Got Next era,
Yeah, around that era.
What are your early memories? I always ask this question. What are your early memories of hip hop in Miami?
The thing that I remember most about hip hop here in Miami, that it was like very hard to actually get hip hop out here. You had to like go to certain places, and there was only like a handful of places. Like, shout out to EFN, he had Crazy Goods. That was one of the spots where you could get like mixtapes and some gear. I remember the Back Way. Where you could get some spots over there too. I think the Shoe Gallery was another one. But that's like when I first was around here trying to get hip hop and try to get like the new not mixtapes, the new albums and stuff like that. Because Specs didn't have all that shit, like the good shit. But the Miami scene, I didn't really know too much about the Miami scene until I started linking up with Fuse, because he was part of the whole little circuit, and he was the one that like took me to the barbecues and the little events, and that's when I started being able to like know who was this, who was that, and back then I was like considered like the internet like some nerd shit. Like in the back, I was old school, so when they were talking about like, the internet had some kind of like stigma back then that it was like, oh, that's some nerdy shit. So in the beginning, I was just kind of like, oh, man, no, fuck that. We're going to go out to the streets and put out the tape. I don't give a fuck about this internet shit, and who the fuck listening to this shit here? Until he put me on to mp3.com.
Wow, I remember mp3.com, remember that shit? Yes.
Where they had like, you could actually put out a song, and it was like categorized from their zip code, like from where you were at. So it would actually compete. It would rank your song amongst the artists that were right there in that shit. So I thought that shit was dope, and that's when it kind of opened the door for me, like at least for the internet to be accepting that shit.
Some old school internet shit was, remember, was it Farm Club? Or Farm Fan or Farm Club? They had some shit, like, that's how I heard about Richard Kimball for the first time.
I don't think I was on that
down
shit.
Here.
Yeah, like I told you, like in the beginning over there, I was very skeptical about the internet. I was like, fuck that shit. Like when niggas was talking on blogs and shit like that, I was just like, I didn't really fuck with it at the time.
Well, I think like back then it was always like, yo, you gotta get the city behind you.
Yeah.
If the city ain't behind you, you ain't flying nowhere, son. And I think a lot of us felt that way. Like I was just like, yo, I gotta rep for Hialeah, man. I gotta get Hialeah behind me.
It felt like
that was a battle, son. Son. That was a battle, bro.
I feel you. I definitely relate. Like, especially with my kind of music, the format and how I sounded, just it didn't really correlate to how Miami sound was birthing. You know what I'm saying? Like what Miami sound was at the time, like the Uncle Al's, the Trick Daddies and shit like that. Like that, the Piccolos. I wasn't.
You weren't that.
I wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely relate, on that aspect of trying to get the city behind you, but it's not. I had to find a pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What was the MCs you grew up like, yo, you know, idolizing or not idolizing, just like influencing you to eventually get the pen and all that?
Well, I'll tell you this much. Redman to me is like the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, Redman.
You're not alone in that thought.
Yo, Redman is the GOAT. But during growing up, as far as inspiration, there ain't nothing that Method Man could have done to make me not look at this nigga as cool. You know what I'm saying? Nigga be taking a shit. I'll be like, I want to learn how to take a shit like that. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, yo.
He was the definition of cool.
Yeah, he was
real.
like the definition of cool. Until I seen that nigga play basketball on that Rocket Jam shit. Oh, man. I was like, yeah. Nah, this nigga cannot play. But, like, besides that, it was like...
He's a pretty tall dude, so I can see that. That would be upsetting for me, too.
Yo,
it's like Sticky Fingers losing the boxing match.
Yeah, yo,
it
like...
fucked me up.
Nigga got the lazy eye. You would think this nigga's going to rock this dude's shit, and he just got fucked up. But no, shout out to Sticky, man. No disrespect.
No disrespect at all. Yo, let's get into another joint, man. Matter of fact, this next joint is a Beleaf joint, and it's from that same particular album that I played the first joint. Let's get into this one.